Hello there. I've been reading different posts just now and throughout the day about the protests and different things going on. And one of them I just read was really interesting about a project for boys. But this also applies to younger girls, so young people in general, really. And given COVID and everything that we're all experiencing at some level or another, but in particular our younger folk, and we don't know how they're going to fare coming out of this, and some during it as well, with their mental health in particular and their emotional well-being. It prompted me to look up a saying which I've always held close to my heart, that it's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. Obviously that applies to females as well. And therefore the fact that it is easier to start younger, to heal, to repair any damages, for want of a better word, as a consequence of trauma, abuse, difficulties, and challenges in childhood. It's easier, better to start young if you can, and your journey, your road takes you down that way, than it is to repair later on. That said, anything is possible. I'm a great believer of that, and I'm testament to that. But the older we get, the more set in our ways is true, is how we get. But more so than that, the conditioning that we might have had as younger people, belief systems, do become concretized. So you have to work harder at changing things. But it's still surmountable, it's still possible. And really, the main thing is to be conscious, to learn about consciousness, about making choices to go this way or that way. And the fact that just because life has dealt you certain cards early on does not determine how your life can turn out later on. And indeed, the journey along the way, because no life is like that the whole time, and nothing's linear, everything's up and down. Sometimes we have more ups than downs. But it's the downs that build the resilience. It's a bit like other work I do, apart from coaching, is Tai Chi and Qigong. And in that kind of belief system or philosophy, all to do with energy, and also the fact that, with the highs come the lows and then the highs again. The energy is always moving, always changing. Nothing is really stuck. And also the fact that, we have to have the opposites, the yin and the yang. One cannot exist without the other. The end of one can become the beginning of the other. And if you can remember that idea, that concept, and work with that, however you choose to do that, then that will stand you in good stead. And it's the lows that build strength and resilience, because each time you get knocked back or you get hurt, you come across difficulties, you have to face challenges, then the stronger your character is formed, the greater your resilience is, and your will to survive, to live, to thrive. So therefore, it's really important that we look at nurturing the younger people right now and the troubles that they're having. And I used to work with young people and families at risk, and sometimes would come across a young person. I remember a young lad of 13 who had experienced incredible dark times as a result of his parents' lives, how they brought him into the world, and what he saw, what he heard, what he learned. And at 13, he had had an awful time. Now, when I read his notes, you would think that I was going to meet a monster, but actually, he was quite a small young lad, but with a long trail of challenges behind him, and I dare say quite a few in front of him at that time. And then there were other young people who needed help with confidence building, self-belief. I shrug my shoulders as if that's simpler. You would think it is, but not in all cases. And this was young girls and young boys. So the purpose of this video is to introduce myself and some of the work I do, but also the importance of looking after and nourishing our young people, nurturing. I'm sat here in my kitchen, so I was thinking about the whole concept of feeding ourselves and how we nourish ourselves and nurture ourselves, and what we digest, because what goes in comes out. What we see and hear bears relevance and has an impact on our behaviors and how we speak, the language we use, both internally and to other people. But obviously, ultimately, everything starts from within. So I'm a transformational coach, helping women over 40 build resilience and find their own voice after trauma and abuse. And I have also and do also work with young people and families. And I am delivering some wonderful courses on behalf of and in association with Freedom from Abuse, which are available for pupil referral units, teachers, young people, youth offending centres, youth centres, young people's prisons, prisons in general, and indeed companies, because they cover different aspects of mental health, bullying, relationships with ourselves. But I also work in these areas on a one-to-one and offer workshops, well-being days, corporate work. And I also speak, sharing my story through trauma as a young person, suicide attempts, mental health or mental ill health, let's say, anxiety, clinical depression, breakdowns, and finding it within myself, plus the journey I went on and what I've learned along the way, building my own resilience and assertiveness, strength and courage to turn my life around, which I help and support other people to do the same. I also teach Tai Chi and Qigong, so I work with energy, meditation, relaxation, and both those art forms can help with healing the body from the inside out, cleaning your energy. And as I read tonight, which I shared a post, I love the analogy of building your inner net. So you always have a safe space to fall into and to build up from again, and again to nourish and nurture yourself. Support someone, something that will hold you, and who better than yourself. So on that note, I'll bid you good evening or good morning wherever you are. And if you do work in any of these areas and you'd like to know more about my courses, my one-to-one coaching and other services, please message me on here. I'll be glad to connect with you and discuss things further. And take care, stay safe and well. Bye bye for now.